Alright guys, so this is the last video in the trilogy of recommending the best PCs that you can get at different price points. These are all pre-builts and everything like that. Again, go check out the first couple of videos. Go check out the first video, go check out the second video before you check out this one. It definitely will help out with everything. There's a lot of stuff that I covered in the first video that I would definitely check out before you do everything else. Why I would have an Xbox in here, I explained that in the first one. So guys, definitely go check out the first video before you watch this one. Again, go check it out, go check it out, go check it out. But yeah, we'll get into the first one. So this is the Skytech Legacy Mini. It's a small form factor, $1,300 PC, and it's on Amazon. So most people are going to have access to it, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is our first PC in kind of the high-end tier. Now it's not that much more expensive than the previous mid-tier, but this is when we're starting to get into around 4K experience and really good streaming performance. And this is kind of the reason why I put it up into this this range, is because you can get pretty good performance off of this machine, and this is a really good streaming PC in general. So it comes with a Ryzen 7 2700. This is a really great 8-core CPU. It overclocks pretty well. If you're ever planning on overclocking, I pretty much wouldn't recommend that, because again, it does come with a stock cooler. So again, I wouldn't recommend that. The other thing that's kind of standing out about this, before we get into the next part of the hardware, is the form factor of this PC. It's pretty dang small for what a lot of PCs are in. So if you're really looking into a crowded space, this is a really great PC to get into, underneath a desk or just somewhere beside something, because you're able to put a lot of different stuff into it, or beside it. It's pretty small, and it looks like it has pretty decent ventilation. So the next part why I picked this one is because it has a 2070 Super. Now, the previous one that I was talking about in the video before had a 5700 XT in this. Now, this one has a 2070 Super, which is a good deal better than a 5700 XT. And again, this one is a great productivity guy because it has the NVIDIA encoder, like I talked about in the one before. So guys, seriously, if you guys haven't watched any ones before, I definitely would go check them out, because I'm making a lot of references to everything that we've done before. So yeah, guys, just go check those out, so you'll have some idea what I'm talking about. But again, one of the ones that we talked about was Skytech before, and this one has crazy good reviews, out of everybody that's reviewed it. So we do have the NVIDIA encoder, so it's great for that H.264 like we talked about before. Now it still only has a 500 gig SSD, and this is kind of disappointing at this price point. 500 gig SSDs are it's standard, but it's not what you would expect when you're paying this much money for a PC. You can upgrade it, yeah, you can. It's a SATA SSD because, again, that M.2 slot is still open, so you can just throw in an M.2 slot. And we can look to the left of it, and we also do have a Bluetooth card on it, so you get Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, just like the last Skytech PC. Now, we do have 16 gigs, which is something they've upped and something that I would expect at this point. But this is the one really huge downside to this PC that I don't know if a lot of people are going to overlook. But I can see it as being something that wouldn't allow people, or wouldn't make people buy this PC. Now, everything else is great for this price point. It's actually really competitive to buying your own PC. Or building your own PC. But the one thing that's really bad about this RAM is, like I talked in the beginning, Ryzen performance in general is very heavily tied to the memory speed, and on this specific system, it runs at 2400 megahertz. That is it is the next worst speed that you can get on DDR4. So DDR4 goes from, the lowest speed that you can get is 2133 megahertz that you can buy, and then it goes up to 2400 megahertz. This is the second worst speed that you can get in DDR4 memory. It's pretty bad. And your Ryzen 7, especially if you're doing multi-threaded workloads, which what you would expect someone who has this PC to do, if they're streaming, if they're making videos, if they're making content, they're going to be using all those threads, they're going to be using all those cores. And by bottlenecking that CPU by that much, it's going to hurt it a lot. And the way to fix this is, of course, taking out that memory and buying new and better memory. So that's going to raise the price of the system up around $70. And the reason why I still would recommend this is, even if you're upping it $70, I still think it's recommended. I still think it's a good price. I still think that it's worth it. Again, you can run it with these 2400 megahertz, but I definitely think that later in the future, if you want more performance from your system, you're gonna want to get 3000 megahertz or above with this, with this CPU, because you're just gonna be bottlenecking your CPU performance in what it can do. Other than that, it looks like a pretty decent system. Again, these guys are very reputable, and a little bonus is that this this little motherboard I/O has a USB Type-C in the back. So again, for those of you who would like a USB Type-C, this is the first one that we've had on this channel series that has USB Type-C. So yeah, that's an added bonus, and we'll go on to the next one. Alright, so this next one that we're going with is like the first one that we've ever had with like a mainstream name, and it's pretty reputable. And this one I think is pretty much a steal for how much money you're paying for it. So this is an iBUYPOWER PC, and it's off Newegg, and it is a $1,600 PC, and it is kind of crazy how good this PC is for that much money. So you're getting a Ryzen 7 3800X. This is an 8-core 3rd gen processor that boosts up to 4.5 gigahertz. Its base clock is 3.9, and 4.5 gigahertz is pretty dang high for any CPU to clock at. So this CPU is going to demolish any sort of multi-threaded workload you're going to have to do. It's going to demolish streaming in general. Anything that you're going to do, it's going to destroy. Now your memory is, I couldn't find this spec for it, but I assume it is going to be at least 3,000 megahertz. Sorry, 3,000 megahertz. I hope it's at 3,000 megahertz, because if it's not, you're gonna be bottlenecking it. But again, even at this price point, if it was at $2666, I would still recommend it, because it is just crazy the amount of hardware that you're getting for this price. The next part that is the absolute killer is an RTX 2080 Super, which is an $800 graphics card. For this much money, that is half of this price. If you would just buy an RTX 2080 Super, that is like half of this. $1,600. Yeah, it is crazy how good this thing is. An RTX 2080 Super will play you 4K games. You can stream on it very, very well. And this is, to be honest, this is the upper tier. If you want to spend anything more than this, I wouldn't. This is an amazing PC for what you're going to get for it. It comes with a mouse and keyboard, a warranty from a very, very reputable company, iBUYPOWER. It's not liquid cooled, and I like that it's not liquid cooled, because you're going to get a lot more longevity out of this PC than you would with a liquid cooled PC. The reason for that is because pumps die. CPU liquid cool, pumps die. Usually fans do not die, and when a fan dies, it is very noticeable, and you can replace a fan. With a pump, it is a little bit different. It's not that easy to tell. Sometimes they'll make noises, but when it starts making a noise, you'll just start getting it throttling like crazy, and then you have to buy a new pump, and it sucks. I prefer air cooling, to be honest, more than anything. If you want to overclock, I'd buy a really beefy air cooler. This one has an air cooler on it. It's not the best air cooler, but it will probably get the job done. And other than that, it's a pretty crazy good system for how much you're getting it for. This thing will blow through streaming. It will blow through any other tasks that you have to have it do. I wouldn't recommend upgrading the memory, because 16 gigs is a little bit low for what you're probably going to be doing if you really need this hardware. But yeah, guys, I would, even if I had this much money, this is probably what I would buy. I probably wouldn't even build it. I'd probably buy this, reconfigure the stuff to how I want it, and yeah, I just leave it like that. This is a great system, and I think that a lot of people would be very happy for the money that they spend and the power that they get out of it. Alright guys, so our last and final PC is from the ABS company again, and I was really debating to put this on, because it's hard to get value when you're going up this high. It's really hard to get good value when you're going up this high in PC prices. $2,300 is a lot more than a lot of people would want to spend on a PC. But I threw it in here just because some of you guys might be curious. Some of you guys just want to be watching and see what you can get for these, part specs. And I put it in here, and it took me a while to find these for what it was worth. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good deal for $2,300. All right, so this is the ABS Prism S with a Ryzen 9 3900X, a GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, and 16 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz RAM. So let's just get into the processor. This processor is good enough to stream off of the processor itself without any GPU help. It's a really, really good processor. It is a 12-core, 24-thread processor. It gets pretty dang hot, which is great because it is liquid cooled. Now, I do have a problem with liquid coolers just because they die. And this isn't like a... I don't know enough about Roswell liquid coolers. It's a Roswell liquid cooler. I don't know enough about them to judge their quality. They might be fine. They might be fine. But I don't think it's going to be the best liquid cooler in the system. I'm going to critique the system pretty heavily because you're spending a lot of money on it, and I just want to tell you guys what you're getting for it. So the two things with this liquid cooler is that, again, it's of questionable reputation. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It might be fine. It might be perfectly fine. But it also has its radiator on the side. It is mounted to the opposite side of, I'm trying to get a good visual. So you see this area, this is where the radiator is getting its intake from. It is not from the front of the case, and it doesn't have a whole lot of ventilation here. Even though you're water cooling your CPU, it doesn't mean that it automatically makes it very, very cool. You have to get very decent, very good ventilation. My grammar is terrible, guys, by the way. You have to get good ventilation to your radiator to make sure that your CPU, which this CPU kicks out a lot of heat, is getting cooled. And at this point, it's questionable if it is. But again, even then, you can reconfigure it. If you bought this PC, I would say to take that radiator and put it down on the bottom. I would recommend that. I mean, it would kind of make the GPU a little bit claustrophobic since you're blowing the hot air straight up into the GPU. But again, it's kind of weird. It's a weird system layout. I don't like these cases. It's a Roswell case. I know it's a Roswell case. And this isn't even the PC that you're getting because it says it has a Core i9 in it, and it's not a Core i9. So I don't really know what this is coming with. But from the specs and from the price, it seems like a really, really good deal. Now next, you have an RTX 2080 Ti. Because you have an RTX 2080 Ti, you do not want to just stream off of the processor. It's a cool flex that you can just stream off of your processor, but I wouldn't for the sake of your stream quality. It has an NVENC encoder like we talked about before. An RTX 2080 Ti isn't that much better than a 2080 Super, which is why I would recommend the iBUYPOWER over this thing. The iBUYPOWER is a reputable brand. It has stuff. It does stuff. It has a good... Alright, so this is future hardware junkie here. Just trying to recover from that stroke that I had earlier during the video. What I meant to say was that a lot of PC companies don't have the best RMA processes. Basically, everybody in the industry sucks at it, and if you're just trying to base a company off of their RMA process, it's not good in the PC community. It's just bad. The only one good, I guess, is Micro Center, but Micro Center isn't available to everybody. So yeah, that's why I'm saying they're all bad. Please forgive me for having a mini stroke during this. I was rewatching this clip through. I thought it was okay at first, but I just understand it's just terrible. So yeah, sorry for that. Sorry for this interruption, and I'll let you guys go finish out the video. It's just a weird system, but the specs don't lie. If it comes with all these specs, I would get this for this price. The only thing that I think is really lacking in the specs is it only has 16 gigs of DDR4. Like, if you're charging this much money, come on, at least put in 32 gigs and raise it another $100, because that's realistic. Like, another $100, give me another 16 gigs of RAM, so people don't have to install it themselves. I would install it myself if I would have bought this PC, but yeah, I don't know. I just threw this in here because it looked like a really good deal. Again, if you're considering buying it, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just a weird PC, man. And it's a weird note to leave this series off on. But yeah, I don't know. It's good for the price. That's all I'm going to say on this one. It's good for the price, and it has questionable quality. That's it. I don't really know much about the power supply and everything else like that. It's just kind of weird. Yeah. So thanks for watching this review, and yeah, I'll see you guys.